Hello, 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 everyone. Thank you for joining me tonight. Sorry for the delay in getting started. I had to set up a few things and make sure my son was alright because he's not feeling too well, but hopefully he's alright and we can crack on. My wife's with him in anyway, so don't worry, he isn't neglected. Hello everyone, and first of all I want to say, advertise a few things that are coming up on the channel. So next Saturday's live stream will be a special one. It is a bit of levity, a bit of fun during the whole lockdown crisis. I thought I'd do a video games quiz night. So if you want to test your knowledge in video games, come and join us at 10 PM British Standard Time. So it's 2 hours earlier than this live stream. At 2 PM PST and 5 PM EST. And it's next Saturday, 9th of May. You can play solo, in teams, whatever you want to do. Up to you. It's a bit of fun. 50 questions. And yeah, come join us next Saturday at 10 PM BST. So should be a good fun, good laugh. Yeah, we'll see how well you do against my good quiz questions. Other than that, we also have this week we are doing a first look at the Xbox Series X gameplay reveal. So Microsoft are doing their gameplay reveal on Thursday, I think it is. Yep, Thursday, May 7th. And I'm going to do a talkover live stream of that. And similarly, Jeff Keighley announced rather than having E3 this year, we have this Summer Game Fest, which the Xbox Talk is part of and kicks it all off. And this is a series of stuff going on over the summer months. That includes press conferences, things like that. And I'll probably be doing more live talkovers of the live streams that they are all doing at relative times. So should be good fun to just sit down and talk about what's been revealed, what's been shown, give my opinions, my impressions of the stuff, what's being said. And yeah, so some new content coming out over the next week or so. So yes, join us next Saturday for a bit of fun in the video games quiz night. So on to today's show. So today we are looking at our let's move that out of the way. Looking at our Super Smash TV clone that we started working on a few weeks back. And today we are looking at fixing some movement controls and also start working on a wave-based system to spawn enemies in around the level. So let's get started with what we want to do in here. So at the moment, where we got at was the character can run around and shoot. We've got like a spread of bullets coming out. But the mouse control for it is a bit busted. So for example, if I let's go to the corner here so it works. So if I go this direction and then move the mouse, sorry, if I go forwards, say, and move the mouse, it's not when it goes right, so when you move forwards. You can see it goes a bit weird because it's using the direction of the player controller. So I want to try and get a proper, more like twin stick shooter vibe from the game. Okay, so it's more action orientated. So for that, we're going to go into our third person character and make a few tweak and adjustments on here. Right. So previously we've got our start shooting and we were using the basic movement input that came with the third person character, which is this sort of setup where it uses the vectors from the control rotation. So this is a thing we want to muck about with. Okay, so when we move forwards, it's actually moving in the direction of the mouse's rotating it. So the mouse will rotate it and move forwards, and then right vector will come from its own rotation. So let's just focus on the move forwards first. So for this, we need to change its control rotation. So this thing here comes from the pawn controller. So we need to muck about the controller's rotation so that this works. So I'm going to do a tick event for this because we need to update it all the time. So in here, we want to find the function that we're going to use. So the way I tend to work is I start backwards. So I figure out what the end goal is. So for example, here, this is add movement input. This is what I want to end up doing. And then I work backwards and work out how I get the parameters I need. So very similarly, I'm going to do that here as well. So I'm going to set the control rotation on the controller. Now, I can just type in rotation. I can see all the different nodes that have rotation in them, okay? But the more specific I get, the better. So think about the things that you want to do. So I want to change its rotation, but more importantly, I want to change its control rotation. So if I just type in control rotation, now you see I can get pawn control rotation. So it must mean I can use set control pawn rotation as well. So then you can untick the context sensitive, and now you can see all the different options we have available to us, including set control rotation. Click on that, and now I've got the end result. I can work backwards to figure out what I need for this. So the target is a controller, so the target here needs to be a controller. At the moment this will give us an error, it won't work. So for example, again, error. Okay, it's because this is an actor, a character actor, not a controller. So we need a controller for this. So I'm going to get the player controller, because that's the one I want. By the way, I do have chat open on the side here, so if you have any questions whilst we're doing this, I'll try and keep an eye out and answer them as best I can. So it's going to change the control rotation. Now I want to work out what this control rotation actually is. So I need to get this from the mouse input. Now, first of all, I only want to change the yaw, which is it's a spinning sort of rotation. So I'm going to split this, and I want to keep the X and the Y exactly the same, and change the Z only. So for that, I want to keep these the same as the current control rotation. So if I get control rotation, tick context back on, make sure I get the right one. There you go. And then split this. I can put in the X and put in the Y, and they will transfer over the same. Okay, so I don't need to do anything special with that. Next, I want to do is the yaw here. So I want to change the yaw. So what I want to do here is I want to find the look at rotation between the mouse cursor and the player. So find look at rotation. Again, we're just working backwards. That's what we're doing. Until you get more comfortable, you can just work backwards. And I only want the yaw from this. So I need a start location. This is a vector, so that's a location. I'm going to start location and a target location. So the start location is going to be this pawn itself. So I'm going to get actor location. And that's itself. And then I want to get wherever the mouse is pointing. So to do that, we can do a hit test under the cursor. So if I right click here and go under cursor, no, maybe untick context sensitive whenever you're doing this sort of thing where you're searching for what you need. So I go under cursor, there you go, get hit result under cursor by channel, that's what I want. And you can see I need a target player controller for this as well. So hang on, let's just make some space here. Ooh. There we go. So first of all, I need the player controller target. So get player controller. Trace channel, we're going to use the visibility channel, which is fine. And that's all we need to do there. Next, I want to get the hit result. So right click on hit result and split it. And you can see all the results there. By the way, I knew I could split it because it's this dark blue color. And if I hover over it, it says it's a structure. And structures are a combination of variables. So you can just right click on them and split them. Okay. So on there, I can see hit result location. Drag that out. And there we go. Now if I hit compile, that error should clear. And let's see where we are with that. It may not work. It may do. We don't know. Let's test it. So I've got my mouse turning, but the character isn't. He's still... This is more accurate to what the mouse is, but we need to make sure the mouse is shown first of all so we can actually see what the hell we're doing. So let's find a begin play. Have I got a begin play? No. Let's do a begin play. And we'll get the player controller. And set show mouse cursor. And tick it to be true. So now I can see the mouse, I can see where he is. Now he's not rotating yet, but you can see where he's following the mouse now. Okay, so that's a bit more what we want. Okay. The only thing it does bug out on is if I do this. If I... it's not too bad actually. So what we need to do is make him rotate and spin on the spot. So what we can do there is continue using this tick event to change that rotation. So I've got set control rotation set up. So we can then do set actor rotation. plug that in there. And from here, we're going to get control rotation, which we've already got here. And I'm going to combine this and plug that in. So let's see if that's fixed that little error. And there you go. He's now spinning on the spot. And he can shoot in the direction of the mouse. Cool. Whilst I'm doing this, I noticed a couple of questions. So, will I address spawning enemies based on player position? I'm wondering how I would go about making enemies spawn depending on the player's location. So empty rooms have no spawns. Yep, so as it said later in the chat by ATS Ineffable, look up level streaming. I've got a video up on level streaming, so check that out, and that'll cover that information for you. Pavel is saying, wants to say thank you. Your lessons helped me a lot when I started studying Unreal Engine. Oh, I'm thankful that you watched, so thank you very much for the kind words. Hi Zero Gaming and hi Valerie Seleshko. Also noticed an early question from LMG50 asking, could I do how to make a Battle Royale series? I get this question a lot. Pause for a second while I answer this question, because I do get it quite a lot. I won't do a series, well, I'll never say never, but at the moment, I won't do a series on Battle Royale series. And there's a few reasons why. One, a Battle Royale game is damn difficult to make. Okay, it's a very difficult thing to sort out. Secondly, you should not be encouraged to do an online multiplayer game such as a Battle Royale for your first online multiplayer game. If you have no idea how online multiplayer works, that's the worst way to jump in. So baby steps and work your way up to that. Which is why I get a lot of people asking, like, can you do C++ tutorials? And I will do at some point, but the C++ is if you know how to do C++ already, like general C++, then you should be fine with Unreal, figuring it out on your own. If you are asking how to do C++ and you're starting out in Unreal, that's a bad place to start. Start with just basic C++ and work out how it works there, and then tackle Unreal. This is why you don't see many C++ tutorials in Unreal, because most people that need to know C++ in Unreal know it because they know C++. But I say I will do it at some point, but most of those tutorials will actually just me be teaching just general C++. And then showing you how it plugs into Unreal. Valerie, my video is in 720p. What about full HD? I have set it up to do full HD, but I think there's a problem with the internet. I think it's been throttled because of the whole lockdown thing. So apologies for that issue. It is an internet thing. It is not a me thing. On my side, I've got it set out to pump out 1080. I'll double check it. Pretty sure I haven't changed the settings. It should be. I can't. No, I can't do it right now whilst I'm live. But it should be pumping out 1080. I think it's just an internet throttling thing. So sorry about that. There's not much I can really do about it. Okay, so we've got control set up for our player character here. You can shoot around and stuff like that. So we can move forwards. That works. And what about moving right? So I can move right, and you see it focuses on the mouse point because that's where he moves to. So this isn't what I want to do. What I want to do is make him strafe based on his rotation, not on his control rotation. That makes sense. So at the moment, our mouse is updating the control rotation, and we're using new control rotation for both moving forward and moving right. I don't want that to be the case for moving right. So for that, if I disconnect this from here, let's move this down a little bit. I can just get rid of this and just type in, get right vector, and you should see get actor right vector, and I can just plug that in there, and it should, in theory, just strafe where I want him to. No, that's because he's updating the rotation, isn't he? Right, so what I need to do is turn off. I don't know, do they do that in game? I don't think they do they? So moving forwards, I want to do that, but right, right and left, I want it just to strafe. I don't know. How do you tell me? I can't remember the last time I played a twin stick game on keyboard. What does happen? You let me know in chat. What does happen when you push A and D on the keyboard when you're doing a twin stick shooter type game? I can't remember the last time I played a twin stick shooter on the keyboard, so I can't remember. You tell me. Whilst I'm waiting for people to give me some advice on what they do. Otavids, have I seen Valorant? I know it's not necessarily anything specific to what you're doing here, but it's not a hot topic. I have seen it. I haven't played it. Looks fine. It just looks like a Counter-Strike game with some magic. Question from Valerie Shaleshko. What is the difference with game mode and game state? I do not understand clearly. So game mode, I can't remember what game state is. I have to look it up. But game mode is tied to a level and is typically where you put stuff related to the win and lose state of the game and the setup for the game of that level anyway. It's nothing level specific because that goes into the level blueprint. The idea of the game mode is that you can put it in other things. So, for example, if we had a game mode for a first-person shooter, the first-person shooter game mode will be tracking things like the progress in the level, so like checkpoints, things like that. Maybe it could also be tracking when the players reach the end and when they've started. It could also deal with score if there's scoring going on, things like that. The game state. Can't remember. Hang on. Game state. Oh, it's for multiplayer stuff. Yeah, so game state is for multiplayer stuff. So the game state works like game mode, but with online. So it works with server stuff. Patapat, is it possible to do a simple elevator like up and down without using Matinee? Yes, it is on my channel. Check it out. It's using splines and a timeline. Lock pop, twin stick shooters turn your left and right. The other stick would rotate. I know about sticks, but what about the keyboard? If you're doing keyboard inputs, because that's what I'm testing it out with. If I was to, like, for example, if I push just A and only A, it does this. That don't seem right to me, but maybe I'm misremembering it. I know the sticks. I know how to do it on sticks and what they do there. But if I think up, down, left, right, they actually don't follow the mouse, do they? They're just cardinal, aren't they? That's where I'm going wrong. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing wrong. So by cardinal, I mean when I push up, it goes up. When I go down, it goes down. So we've moved forwards. We want to do... in other words, we don't want to do this. Move right, we just want to go to the right direction, and move forwards, we want to go into north direction. So, apologies, I remember now. So when I push move forwards, I need it to go up like that, okay? And that is the X location in the world. So, if I type in 1 in X, that'll do that. And then for right, it'll be Y, it's 1. So now, I push up goes up, down goes down, left goes right, left, and right goes right, and I can do that. That's it. That's what it is. That's more like it. There you go. Cool. Valerie Shlesko, do you have your complete games? If yes, where can I play it? So my latest release was Blob. It wasn't made in Unreal, but it is released on iOS and Android. It is a 2D puzzle game, top-down puzzle game. Check out. It's called Blob. Blobb. I'll play the trailer of it at the end of the stream. But you can check it out on my channel. I've got trailers there as well. Okay, so we've got movement set up for the character. Oh, that's weird. Look, so the bullets are clipping. They're not going straight ahead. So what's going on there? Let's have a look at that. Are they using the control rotation somewhere? Shooting. Start shooting. Fire projectile. So fire projectile is spawn transform. So rotation in the X and the Y. Active transform. Right, we don't want that. Don't want that. We just want your. So push play. That's better. There you go. So now the bullets are going straight out. Perfect. Okay, so we've got that. Next we're going to do is working on the enemy spawning. So first we need enemies. So let's do some basic enemies and basic AI for the enemies. So let's make a new folder. AI enemies. And we'll do blueprint class. It's going to be a character. And it's going to be enemy. This will be a parent enemy. So I'll have multiple enemies in the game, but they'll all inherit from the enemy parent, which is this one. But we'll crack on. We need a controller as well. So we need a AI controller. There we go. Enemy controller. And we'll also need some AI stuff. So we need behavior tree, enemy AI. Just doing some basic box standard ones. We'll do some fancy other ones later another time. Enemy BB for Blackboard. Okie dokie. So let's give that enemy a bit of something visual. Let's give it a static mesh and give it a cone. Facing forwards. Cool. Simple. Nothing fancy. That'll do for now. And then we'll make sure this one is tied to the AI controller. So go to class defaults and search for AI controller. You can change it to your enemy controller. Controller, by the way, if you want to know the difference between a character and a controller, the controller is the puppeteer. The character is the puppet. Essentially what it is. Lot pop. Yes, these streams are uploaded. The archive straight away. So if you've missed it, you can watch it straight away. Patrons can see the archive straight away, but everyone else can get it a few weeks later when I get made more public. So yeah, they are archived. That's the third person. Okay, don't want that. So we've got the enemy and enemy controller next, and we need to tell this enemy controller to use the behavior tree. So we're going to go run behavior tree and tell it to use the only one we got. Compile. And we'll close that. Oh, actually turned on my window for the other thing. There we go. bjoke86 playing Blob from my game Blob, and you found a bug. Oh no, not a bug. So there probably are bugs in there still in there. If you do find a bug, email it with a screenshot if you can to support@ryanlady.com. It keeps all the stuff together, makes it easy for me to fix it. But yeah, put that all in there, and I'll try and include it in the next update. So we've got that done. Next we need to do is the enemy AI. And the behavior tree for this, we're going to drag out and do a selector, followed by a sequence. Like so. So again, I'll recap what these do, even though I've explained in my channel before, but I'll double explain. Oh, pardon me. Oh, dear me. So let's say, for example, we've got this, okay? And let's go and right. So a selector, but first of all, a tree will always go down the left-hand side, okay? And the left-hand side here, the selector, what this will do basically means if the child of it, which is these three, these are children, if that child fails, then this fails, and then it goes down the next one, or whatever it may be. So if this fails, then it'll cancel out and do the next one. Okay, so that's what that does. So so for example, this fails, then this will play. If they both fail, then this one will play. Whereas a sequence, if if any of its children, it will play the one on its left. Once that's successful, then it play the next one on its next one. Then it play the next one. Then it plays the next one. Then it plays the next one, and so forth, and so forth, and so forth. If any of those fail, then the whole sequence fails, and then it goes back up the chain. So that's where they differ. Sequence is if you want to play like a sequence of events, like a tasks, a list of tasks. Where a selector is going to be one or the other. Valerie, you have to make a tutorial about packaging and reducing size of APK file. I do have to, yes, at some point. There's loads you can do and loads of tips. I will make a video on it because it is quite useful. But excuse me, I'm just having a sip of a drink. Oh yeah. So yeah, it could be. There's quite a lot you can do to reduce the package size, but I'll go through it one day and make a video on it. So we've got the selector and the sequence. So the sequence is going to find the location and then move that location. So we need to make a new task here. And we're going to do receive execute AI. And we're just going to output a vector to a blackboard. So let's make the blackboard variable in here and go location underscore BB. I'll put underscore BB for blackboard. You don't have to, obviously, do whatever you want, but it makes it easy for me to track what I'm doing. And we'll make it editable because you want to be able to set this on the external blackboard. So we need to find the player location and store it. So we need to, first of all, get player character, get actor location of the character, and then we're going to plug it into this location blackboard selector. So drag that out and do set value as vector and plug that in. And that's all there is to it. Just end it off with a finish execute and tick success because it would have been successful. Okay, so we've got that task done. We need to rename it because at the moment it's got a stupid name. So let's rename it. And we'll do find player location. And then go back to our behavior tree. Now we can drag out from our sequence and do a find player location, which is one we just made. And you can see the location BB has none next to it. That's because we have to go to a blackboard here and add a new key, which would be a vector. And we'll call it target location. So this will be where it's going to head towards. Okay, and you can see it's already assigned it, but if it hasn't for you, just on the right hand side, you can select which key it uses. So that will find a location and store it in that blackboard, which is like a temporary location to store values. Once it's got that, we can use the move to, which is already built into it. Move to. And you can see move to target location. And I'm going to go to the right hand side and we're going to tell it to observe the blackboard value. So it updates the move to on the blackboard value. And we want to make sure that blackboard key is at the target location. Now I'm thinking we need to do a parallel for this. Yeah, we'll do a parallel. So what parallel does, it allows you to play two tasks at the same time. Until one's finished. So this would be your main task. So this would be the move to. So that'll be playing this. And then this one is the subclass. So this is subtask. So this will be playing the whole time on loop basically whilst this one is doing. So if you select that, you can see finish mode is immediate. And that's it. So it says here you can see a simple parallel finish with main task. So this will finish with when this finishes. Otherwise it just loops. And hit save. And I think that's the correct way of doing it. We'll have a look in a second. Okay, so we've got that running. Next and lastly we need is a nav mesh. So let's find a nav mesh. We'll plonk that into the world. So we'll drop it down so it clips through the world, and then we're going to change its size. So I'm just going to change its bounds here so it covers the whole level. And you can double check it by pushing P on your keyboard, and it will show you the nav mesh. There you go. So that's that. I can now drag an enemy into the world, and let's see, he should now move towards me, or not. Is it playing? Selector, sequence, simple parallel. It should be fine. We'll take the parallel out for now. Let's just do basic find player location and move to. Yeah, there you go. So you can see he just runs to wherever our last was. It doesn't run directly towards me. So that's where we need that parallel to come in. So I probably messed up the parallel somewhere. Parallel. So make sure I read this right. All observing decorators, lower priority or both, will be removed when execution flow leaves this branch. Finish with main task. Yeah. Oh wait, I know what you need to do. So we had it as we had it before. Oh. But we also need to do find player location at the start as well, so it starts off, it knows where to go first. Otherwise, it just doesn't move at all. There we go. So you can see now he updates whilst running towards me. He's a bit fast. We'll slow him down. So go to my enemy, character movement, and let's change his max walk speed to something a lot slower. Let's go for 300. No, let's do 200. So very slow. Yeah. Cool. So that's our enemy. Next we're going to do is the wave spawning thing. How are we doing for time? Yeah, we've got time. It's fine. So to do this, we'll be using the game mode to control the wave spawns and how it works with that. So first of all, we need to set up the spawn point. So I've got 4, which are obviously here, here, and here. So I need to make a spawn point. So let's make a blueprint class. It's an actor, and it'll be just called spawn point. Now, if you don't know which one to ever do, actor is the base thing. It's anything you place in the world is an actor. A pawn is a type of actor which can be moved and possessed by a controller of some kind. And a character has character movement on it, so you can do like walking, swimming, jumping, all that stuff. So if you don't know which one to do, chances are mostly actor, unless you want to control it, which would be pawn and character, respectively. So for example, something like a car would be a pawn, but a player character walk around is a character. So that's that. So we've got a spawn point, and a spawn point, as I say, is just a actor that we can set in the location, and we'll set up a function on our spawn point to spawn an enemy. So a new function, spawn enemy. Let's fix that camel casing. There we go. So spawn enemy, we're just going to tell it to spawn actor from class, and we'll tell it to spawn just the enemy that we got, because we've only got one enemy for now anyway. And the spawn transform will be get actor transform, so wherever this thing currently is. Next, I'm going to go to my viewport, and I'm going to add a arrow component, so that when I add this to the world, I know which way my enemy is going to be coming out facing. Because we're using the transform here, we need to make sure we're using the correct rotation, otherwise they'll spawn looking backwards. So yeah, so let's spawn enemy. We'll do that. Next, I want to do a cooldown probably on this thing. So what could we do? We could do a cooldown here. So we go set timer by event. Actually, no, we do a function. So set timer by function name. Object we left blank because it's itself. Function name, we'll make it in a second, but we'll do it cooldown timer. And the timer will be, I don't know, we'll do a randomized. So come out of here, we'll do random in range. And we'll do a minimum of 3 seconds and a maximum of 6 seconds. And set to not loop. So after 3 or 6 seconds between that range, it will call this function cooldown timer. So on my event, not event graph, new function, we'll make that cooldown timer. And we'll just tell it to, I don't know, what can we do? Actually, we don't need to do any of that, do we? I'm just thinking, spawn enemy. Now I've got a choice here. I could either make it so that the spawn points control the spawning, or the game mode spawns the spawning. I'm thinking probably the spawn points should do the spawning. So in that case, what I can do is in the game mode, then if I want to overwrite them, I can do and force a spawn. Maybe that might be interesting to do. Okay, so what we'll do is make a new variable, and we'll make it can spawn, and we'll set that to be true here. On spawn enemy, at the start of this, we're going to check whether can spawn is true. Using a branch. So only if it's true, it'll spawn an enemy and so forth. And at the end of that, we'll set that to false. Okay. Then it'll cool down the cooldown timer after between 3 and 6 seconds, which will then tell it can be spawned. So then if I wanted to force a spawn, what I can do is just tell it to all the spawn points to change their can spawn to true, and then it can spawn it. We'll see how that works. We may change it later on, but that for now should work just fine. So now I can drag these into the world and set these up. So I'd say the arrow comes in handy because I can drag it out and rotate them, be facing the correct direction. Like so. Okay, so there's our spawn points. Next, we need to work on a game mode. So the game mode, I don't think I set up a custom one yet. Let's have a look. Probably not. Okay, we'll go into the third person game mode because that's the one that came with it. Might as well use it. So in the third person game mode here, we're going to set up the spawn points. So in begin play, let's get all the spawn points. So get all actors of class. And we'll do spawn point. And then store that as a variable. Spawn points. And then on begin play, we'll set up a timer by event. And the event, we're going to come down here and do custom an event. And we'll do spawn enemies. And what I can do is set to loop. And then on spawn enemies, we're going to drag our spawn points out and do a for loop. Not for loop, sorry. We'll get a copy of which one we wanted to do. And here I can do a randomized value. So I know I've only got 4. I could hard code it into 4, but it's always better not to hard code it, because then if I want to add more spawn points later on, I don't have to fix all the code here. So I want to get a random integer in range between 0, and on here I want to get the last index, which it would be 3, because it goes to 0 base, so 0, 1, 2, 3. So it's 4 points. So between 0 and 3 gets this value, and then we're going to tell this thing to spawn enemy. And that should do it, I think. Let's see how this works. So if I remove this one, push play. Anything? No? Let's have a look. Oh, I didn't set a timer. We'll do a random. Not random float. That's crazy. Random float in range. We'll do 3 again and 6 again. Right, now do it. No, Are we actually using this control, this game mode? Let's have a look. Print string. Yeah. So where's it going wrong? So let's bug fix this. So this bit is obviously working because a hello just came up. So then we've got spawn enemy. So spawn enemy here. Let's do a print string here. Let's see if this is working. That worked, but it didn't spawn an actual enemy. So let's remove that. That's all fine there. So it must be on the spawn point. So on the spawn point, we got can spawn enemy. Can spawn is set to true, isn't it? Oh, there you go. I didn't tick it to true. Right, now I'll do it. I saw an enemy pop up in the world outliner. Oh, it's there. I see it. Okay. So is it auto processing? It's probably not. Event graph, class defaults. It should be fine. It should just work. Why is it not working? That's wrong one. Enemy. Auto process AI when it is spawned. And click save. Or compile rather. So now it should process it when it's spawned in the world rather than placed. There you go. There's one. There's another. And another, and another, and another. So now we've got waves of enemies spawning in randomly to our level. And because I can't kill them, they'll just keep spawning and push me off the edge probably. Can jump. Look. We'll take jump out. The reason they stop when I jump as well is because I'm no longer in the nav mesh, so I don't know where to find me. So there you go. That's where they come from. So let's turn off the jump there. So find jump. There we go. Right, delete that. Cool. I also don't want this mouse input anymore. I can get rid of this. It should be wasteful because I've got this stuff going on the tick. Okay, so we have enemies spawning in. We have a character twin stick shooter style setup. Okay. So wrong key. Next we're going to do is make it so I can actually kill the enemies. So let's make the projectile hit the enemy. So for this, I'm going to set up a custom channel. So I'm going to go into my project settings. And we'll create a custom collision channel. And you should find it. Type in channel. Object channel. Okay. I already set it up. Brilliant. So I've got projectile, enemy, and player. And I've told it to overlap enemy, players. Okay, cool. We've got that set up. So to make this work with the enemies then, here's my projectile. And projectiles go by their route. So the collision works with the route, which is in this case the sphere. So if I scroll down, I can see I've set up to overlap everything, except block other projectiles, which is fine because it's a projectile anyway. But I want it to actually we'll leave it overlapping enemy as well. So overlapping or hit, we'll do. We'll do hit and see how that looks. We may change it back to overlap. So enemies, it will hit. Players will just overlap. Okay. Static mesh, I'm going to turn off all collision, which I've got here. Already done. And the enemy here. On capsule collision. We can probably leave it all as default. By default, it is blocking everything. We can probably customize it so it doesn't block the player. So we do overlap player. Block the projectile. Yep, fine, cool. Right, leave that as is. So with that done, on enemy here, when this is hit, we do a hit event. We are hit by a projectile. A projectile will only trigger the hit. No, it won't. We'll make that, change that. Do other here, and we'll do a cast to projectile. So when we hit by a projectile, as a projectile, we'll destroy the actor here, and then we'll apply damage. Or could we do it? We should do a hit on the projectile instead. I'm trying to think what would be better. Putting a hit on the actor or the projectile. I think we'll do it on the projectile. Because then we do the damage to work out what effect it should have on the enemy. So do a projectile. Event hit. So on event hit, when it hits something, we're going to apply damage to whatever it hits. So on the other, we go apply damage. And we're going to apply a basic damage here. Projectile strength, plug that in there. Damage causer is the player character we can do, I think. Yeah, so event needs to go, we'll do get player controller. And then damage causer, we'll do self. Well, actually, no, we'll do the player character. Get player character. Okay, so with applied damage, that will trigger, and that will trigger on the enemy actor. So they will have an event that handles all this stuff. After that, we want to destroy the projectile itself. So let's keep going through, pushing the player, or enemy rather. And then on enemy, we could do the damage event. So when I receive any damage, we'll make it lose health. So we give it some health. Health should be a float, and it should be normalized, so it goes between 0 and 1. So health should start off as 1. Then we get health minus the damage, and then set health. So deal damage, let's check the damage. Then when the health is below or equal to 0, we'll tell this enemy to disappear. Like so. So by default, the bullet is doing one damage the whole entire time, so it will kill each enemy straight away. So if I test this out, each bullet should kill an enemy straight away. Or not. So what's going wrong there? Let's do projectile movement. Not movement. Sphere. Enemy. I've got hit to block, so it should be fine. Oh wait, object type. I've got to change the object type. It's a projectile. An enemy. Again, change the object type here to enemy. There we go. So enemies are spawning and getting destroyed straight away. What's causing that? I haven't got anything that would do that. I keep clicking on the wrong screen. Right, let's do a print string of this. Also, the bullets are broken, so now they're all hitting each other. So if I tell the projectile here to overlap and not block, that should be fine. There you go. Okay, let's wait for an enemy to spawn. So I'm going to see it on the right hand side, the world outline. They're spawning in and being destroyed straight away. Keep an eye on it, you'll see it. So what's going on there? The only thing that got it to move it from the world is this, and that shouldn't be doing it. So if I turn that off, does that still remove it from the world? Oh, I know what's going on. So I think I do anyway. I go to the collision of it. Presets. Oh wait, no. Enabled. Visibility, we'll change to block everything. I think it's going through the floor. It's still going through the floor. You can see it when it drops down. So why is that going through the floor? I shouldn't be doing. Let's drag that out and have a look. See, that's not going through the floor there. Oh, wait. But that one is over there. How weird. That falls through, that doesn't. And that's the same as anything else that spawns. So what's going wrong? How peculiar. Let's change this back to place in world or spawned. Play. So it's when they start moving, it falls through the floor. That is odd. Why the hell does that do that? How strange. Right, so enemies overlapping. So if I change enemy to block there, so it blocks itself. Yeah, see, that still does it. But as a pawn, it was fine. So if I change that back to pawn. Ooh, change that to... no, just... yeah, change that to pawn there. See, that's all fine. How weird. Oh, wait, have I got this to set up to overlap by default? No, because it's a brush. It should collide with everything. I have no idea why it's doing that. Okay, weird. Right, let's plug this back in. I'll leave it as pawn for now. I'll try and work out why it's doing that. Okay, it's probably something to do with the base. I mean, if I turn it to the static mesh, will that fix that? Let's have a look. Create static mesh. Sure. And then change enemy back to enemy type. Custom. Enemy. Yeah, no, still busted. No idea. No idea. Hi, Khan. Oh, that's a weird name. Khan Melkin the Rock. No, Carney on the Rock. Something milk on the rock. Kind of milk. Kind of milk on the rocks. Hey, how you doing? I do like it when people have weird usernames I can't pronounce. Right, let's change that back to pawn. For now, that works. Don't know why. Figure it out later. Okay, so... Oh, it was. Oh, wait, static mesh doesn't have a... collision on it. Because I've changed it to static mesh. Collision, add a box collision. There we go. Actually, I bet now if I change that back to a custom, enemy. Hang on, just saw collision enabled. Collision enabled query and physics. Oh, I don't know. That's an enigma to figure out. Oh wait, I've got it to overlap everything. No, I'll give up. I'll figure it out another day. Let's change that back to a pawn. Right, there you go. Right, so we've got an enemy there, but it's not reacting to my bullets. So why is that? Edit enemy. Projectile should be. Oh, it's got a pawn now, so I need to block pawns. There you go. And push play. Okay, so that's because I'm now hitting the player. Oh, gold. Okay. Projectile. Let's go back to projectiles. And so at the player. So the player is custom. Change the type of player. No. Overlap player. Yep. Projectile. Yep. Third person character. We've got object type player. Projectile is overlap. Overlap. Fine. Yep. That should be fine. Make sure none of this is contradicting it. Let's change that collision preset to no collision for now. Yeah, it was just hitting that. Okay, it was hitting the mesh. But there you go. You saw the bullet destroy the player enemy. There you go. So now if I change the bullet strength down, so projectile strength down to say 0.1, actually 0.25, so I take 4 bullets to kill each enemy. If you don't shoot out a billion of them. Why is that doing that? Hang on, this. We'll fix this before we call it a night. Why is this doing? Projectile strength is 0.25. And it goes through, it destroys itself, so it shouldn't do any more than that. Enemies receiving this damage, taking away 0.25 from it, and it's not less than that, so it should be destroying it. So why is it destroying it? Okay, let's tweak how the damage is, the shooting is happening. So my shooting here, we'll just let's change the single shot for now, so I know for certain it's what's breaking it. See, that's still going right through it, isn't it? Shooting 5 out, yeah. Is it destroying the other? It should be destroying the projectile when the projectile hits it. I think it is. So, destroy actor itself. Why the hell is it still carrying on? Okay, I'm going to do a print string for this. So I can see how many times it's doing the hit event. Once. It's doing hit event once. Once. Okay. So that's fine. The hit event is doing fine. Doing what it should be doing. So the enemy must be the issue. So I'm going to print string the health out of here. Send it down to 0. Oh wait, did I not set the default enemy health? 1. No, yeah, why is that doing that? Damage. Okay. Let's see what damage is coming through there. Projectile is set to 0.25, yeah. Yeah, that should be fine. Base damage, base damage. So why is that coming through as 1? Oh, wait, have I overridden it? Hang on. A fire projectile. Projectile strength. Where does that come from? Come from here, that's what. Okay, I need to change it to there. There we go. There we go. That's more like it. So if I change, no, let's carry on testing it. So I hit it with a couple there, because I was close up to it. But if I'm further away, cool. So let's tweak that so it's a bit more balanced. So my third person character, let's change it back to a fully automatic. And plug that back into start shoot there. And then I'm going to change the projectile strength here to something really low. Go 0.05. Play, and you can see I have to take a load of damage to kill it. Neat. And because it's a spread, the closer I am to someone, the easier, quicker it dies because they all hit it. Cool. I'll do one last little tweak to show what I mean about overriding the spawn. So at the moment it's spawning just one at a time from the spawn enemies thing. But what if I want it to say periodically just spawn all of them at the same time? So I'll make a custom event here, spawn all. And then we'll do spawn points and do a for each loop. And call that spawn enemy function. And then we're going to set up a timer on here. So set timer by event. And do a random timer of 4 seconds. Looping. It's going to spawn all of them. Oh wait, we have to tell it to reset the thing as well. So, oh hello. We set them to can spawn. Set the can spawn to be true. And then call the spawn enemy. So it keeps with the cooldown, just does it straight away. There you go. So every 4 seconds it spawns in all of them. Obviously it's a bit extreme, you wouldn't have this typically. You probably save this for like moments that you want the player to really struggle. For now, that'll do. And that'll bring us to the end of tonight, I think. So next time we come back to this, what we'll work on is the enemy drops. So we want enemies to drop money that the player can pick up, and then during in between rounds, they can upgrade themselves and buy things and things like that. So we'll work on the item drops and money drops next time. So if you want to see this archive right now, you can head over to Patreon and become a patron for just $1. And this archive will be up relatively soon. Otherwise, it'll be up for everyone else publicly in a few weeks. To recap, let me just go back up here. So to recap, we have got a video game quiz night next Saturday. So next Saturday, come by at 10 p.m. BST time, or whatever your local time is relative to that. It's 2 hours earlier than this live stream, so those in the UK can take part as well. Bring your pad and pen, and you can either do it solo, in a team, what you want to do. It's a bit of late night fun during lockdown, where we can have a quiz and see how well you all do against my video game quiz questions. See who's the best quizzer. So, yep, check that out, and that's next Saturday. Also, next Thursday, this Thursday coming, I'm also doing a live stream talk over of sorry, let me get the thing up. Oh god, it's all going wrong. Also next week, I'm doing the live stream event of the Xbox Series X gameplay reveal. I'll be talking over it and talking about my opinions and what thoughts about what I'm seeing. Don't know what it's going to be like. We'll see. And that's all part of this Summer Game Fest that Jeff Keighley is starting up, where between May and August of this year, all the game companies will be doing various events like press conferences, things like that, and I'll be doing live talkovers of all of those as well, giving my insight and opinions. So thank you all for tuning in tonight, and I'll see you all next weekend for the quiz. Oh, and I'll see you Thursday as well for our talkover. Cheers, guys, and I'll see you all then. Bye-bye.